bought me this palette for my name's day. It is $85 and by Pat McGrath. And this is the Mothership Mega Celestial Nirvana eyeshadow palette. I have done 6 eye looks to show you today, and we're gonna be talking if this palette is worth $85. Now you can also find it on TJ Maxx for $35. In Germany we have TK Maxx, but we never have brands like this. I was very interested in this palette because of the color story. I also liked a lot the Odyssey palette by Pat McGrath, but that one has more neutral eyeshadows. We have a cardboard packaging. This is very similar to the Odyssey palette, so it has a nice weight to it. However, it is a little bit heavier to hold all the time and do your makeup in the mirror, but because it has the ribbons here, you can place it on your desk. We also have a mirror, but it's not a very good quality because it is making my face smaller, like a circus. The eyeshadows are divided into 3 groups. Let's start with the first eye look. I was super excited with this one. I have started with eyeshadow Desert Divinity and the blending brush. I have used this one to diffuse the eyeshadow in the crease area. It is easy to blend, it has nice color payoff, and this one is a matte beige eyeshadow. After that I took eyeshadow Nightfall. This one is a darker brown shade with a matte finish, and for this one I used a smaller brush. I have placed this eyeshadow in the outer crease to give more dimension to my eyes. It is very pigmented, you need a small amount of this eyeshadow, and it was looking very smooth on the eyes. Next I took eyeshadow Bronze Infatuation, and with an eyeshadow brush I placed this all over the eyelid. This is a darker beige eyeshadow with some very fine micro glitter. It looks great with a dry brush. It makes the eye look expensive and glamorous. I loved this eyeshadow. To define the lower eye, I took the eyeshadow Nightfall with a small pencil brush because this is a super pigmented eyeshadow. I applied some more in the outer crease to make my eyes less hooded. By adding the darker shade on the outer eyelid, the champagne eyeshadow on the eyelid was looking even more shimmery and luxurious. To highlight the inner corner, I took eyeshadow Cosmic Champagne. This eyeshadow is super reflective and looks amazing in the inner corner. After that, I turned off my ring light to see the eyeshadows. They are super luxurious without all of the studio lights. I absolutely loved the first eye look, so let's go now to the second. For this one I went to the third group of the palette. The first eyeshadow that I blended in my crease is the shade Flame Fatale. I diffused this on the outer eyelid and also in the crease area. I wanted this to be a crease color, so I didn't add more. With the amount of product that I have used, the eyeshadow is not the same as in the pan, but you can apply more if you want to make it more neony and bright. Then I took the eyeshadow Auburn Allure, and with this one I have tried to define more the outer crease and eyelid. This one is a red brown eyeshadow with a matte finish. It is a very intense eyeshadow, but it was super easy to blend it, and it has very nice color payoff. On the eyelid I wanted to use the golden eyeshadow. It is called Heavenly Bronze. I have applied some on the eyelid with my fingertip. It intensifies the texture and the fine lines, so if you want to make it softer, it is better applied with a brush. Then I went in the shade Golden Angelica, and with this one I have highlighted the tear duct. This eyeshadow has a beautiful glow. It is shiny but also very soft on the eyes. With a smaller blending brush, I picked up eyeshadow Auburn Allure to define the lower eye and intensify the shape of my eyes. I went back to Golden Angelica to highlight the inner lower eye, and it looks super beautiful with the dark reddish eyeshadow. For this eye look, I would say the most disappointing eyeshadow is Heavenly Bronze because it can intensify the fine lines. This eye look also looks very mesmerizing without all of my studio lights. The shimmery eyeshadows are catching differently the light with studio lights and without studio lights. Let's go to the third eye look, and for my crease color I took again the same eyeshadow from the first group. It is called Desert Divinity, and with my brush I went in the crease. I wanted this to be my crease color and the base for all of the other eyeshadows. Then I went in the eyeshadow Violet Vixen. It has a vibrant purple color. This one has a cool undertone and a matte finish. I have applied a small amount of this and blended it very well in the outer crease. Let's continue with this beautiful blue eyeshadow. It is called Aquarian Dream, and with an eyeshadow brush I have placed this on the eyelid. Then I went into the eyeshadow Lunar Lavender. This one has an iridescent finish and it's not so visible on the skin. You need to apply it with your fingertip. It is a silvery lavender eyeshadow. To define the lower eye, I applied the eyeshadow Nocturnal Navy. This is a very intense eyeshadow. You need to apply a small layer and blend it out. It was looking a little bit patchy. Even though I have tried to blend it several times, I could still see some areas with unblended eyeshadow, especially on the outer part of the crease that I have some texture. With a small smudging brush, I went into the eyeshadow Fabulosity. I love this name. This is another purple eyeshadow with a matte finish, but it is a warmer one. I diffused this on the rest of the lower eye and also I blended it into the previous one. This blended very nicely and it has nice opacity. To highlight the rest of the eye, I applied the eyeshadow Lunar Lavender. I have applied a few layers because this eyeshadow is not very visible on me. I was very curious to see if the Aquarian Dream eyeshadow was more noticeable with my fingertips, so I took some and it was a lot more vibrant. So if you want to make this eyeshadow more intense, definitely apply it with your fingertip. It can look majestic. The worst eyeshadows that I have used for this third eye look is this blue one and the silvery lavender, because this one is not noticeable and this one is patchy. This aquatic one can look better with a sponge tip applicator or with your fingertip. I would prefer if it was the same with a dry brush. The next eye look is my least favorite. I didn't really like the eyeshadows that I decided to use. I think they didn't match so well. Even though I don't like this eye look, I decided to have it in the video so you can see how things can not always be perfect. Also, I was testing the eyeshadows. So for the fourth eye look, I'm taking again the eyeshadow Desert Divinity. This is the eyeshadow that I used the most as my crease color. After that, I'm going in the Forest Green eyeshadow. This one has a matte finish, and with this one I wanted to define the outer crease. This eyeshadow was not exactly what you see in the pan. I couldn't see the green eyeshadow, so I applied more. It was looking more blue to me. Then with an eyeshadow brush, I took eyeshadow Starlit Copper. This one is a beautiful bronzy coppery eyeshadow with a shimmery finish, and I have placed this in the outer eyelid. This was not a very spreadable eyeshadow. It was a little bit drier and it is best applied with your fingertip. With the brush I couldn't blend it so easily, but also with the fingertip it intensifies a lot the texture and the fine lines. So this eyeshadow didn't work for me at all. For the inner eyelid, I'm taking the eyeshadow Guilty Opulence with the same brush but the other side of the brush. This shade looks dirty gold in the pan. On the eyes it is more brightening. This eyeshadow is dry as well and on the eyes it looks grainy. I have tried to apply it with a brush, blend it a little bit with my fingertip just to see if I can blend it more, but I didn't like how it looked on my eyes. With an eyeshadow brush, I went in the eyeshadow Venusian Peony. This is a brighter and a light pink eyeshadow with a matte finish. I have tried to smudge this on the lower eye, but it wasn't sticking on the skin. I was trying to apply more and make it more noticeable. This eyeshadow needs a sticky base to make it more visible. For the inner lower eye, I went into this beautiful pink shimmery eyeshadow. It is called Eternal Amour, and with my brush I have tried to highlight my eyes. This was also looking grainy on the eyes. It was intensifying the fine lines. It wasn't easy to use. Let's move on to the brown red eyeshadow of the palette, the Auburn Allure. I have diffused this eyeshadow in the outer corner of the eyes, the outer lower eye and the outer eyelid to define the shape more and also to see how it works with the other eyeshadows. To highlight the eyes, I'm taking the eyeshadow Cosmic Champagne. This eyeshadow is super beautiful on the eyes. For this fourth eye look, we had a lot of fails. These two in the corner, the golden, and also this pink one that is so creamy when you swatch it. For eye look number 5, I wanted to use the green and brown shades together, so I have started again with the light beige eyeshadow, Desert Divinity, to apply as my crease color, and then I went in the outer crease with the forest green eyeshadow. Again, it wasn't looking very smooth. I was trying to blend it a lot of times. I didn't want to irritate my eyes, so I let it be. I have tried to take with my brush a very small amount of the product, so it's not that I took a lot of eyeshadow and I couldn't blend it. I have tried to apply this in light layers. After that, I wanted to use again the eyeshadow Golden Angelica on the eyelid to see how that looks, because in the inner corner it was looking fantastic. So it wasn't very shimmery on the eyelid. You need to apply some with your fingertip as well, or maybe with a sponge tip applicator. I really wanted this to be super beautiful on the eyelid as well. At least it was looking smooth on the eyes. For the lower eye, I took eyeshadow Nightfall, the beautiful brown eyeshadow that we have, and I have applied this in the lower eye. This was looking super beautiful on the lower eye, and next to that I diffused the green forest shade of the palette. It blended very nicely with the brown eyeshadow. Next I picked up eyeshadow Desert Divinity and I went over the edges of the eyeshadows. To highlight the inner corner, I went back to the shade Golden Angelica. It looks great in the inner corner. I like the color combinations of the green eye look a lot. I wish that this one was performing better and I could have an even layer of green color on my eyes, because on some areas the color is more intense, on other it isn't. I couldn't make it work for me. Let's go now to the eye look number 6. I wanted to use together the purple and the pink eyeshadows. For the crease color this time I took the neon pink eyeshadow, Venusian Peony. It was very soft on the skin and not visible. Following that, I picked up the eyeshadow Violet Vixen and I have blended this one in the outer crease and also outer eyelid. I went in the eyeshadow Eternal Amour and I have placed this all over the eyelid. I have applied a few layers to make it more shiny, and then I also applied some with my fingertip, and the eyeshadow intensified a lot of texture and it doesn't look complimentary on the skin. So basically I had exactly the same experience like when I used this eyeshadow in the inner lower eye. To add some color on the lower eye, I took eyeshadow Fabulosity. I love the name of the shade. And I have applied this on the outer lower lash line. Then I also connected it in the outer crease. To highlight this eye look, I went in my favorite eyeshadow, Cosmic Champagne. It looks gorgeous in all of the eye looks, am I right? I have diffused this in the inner corner and also inner lower lash line. I have applied some more of the eyeshadow Fabulosity in the outer crease of my eyes, and I have noticed that by blending two eyeshadows I get one other shade of the palette. I didn't like that so much. In the crease I ended up using the pink eyeshadow and also this one, Venusian Peony, and also Violet Vixen. If I mix these two together, I get the eyeshadow Fabulosity. So I'm taking again Venusian Peony and I will try to blend it. Now I'm taking Fabulosity. On the eyes it is exactly the same eyeshadow. Pat McGrath products are always very overhyped. This palette was as well. I think it is also overpriced. We have this very confusing mirror. It is distorting. It is super huge, but you can't really do your face makeup in this one. I liked 8 out of the 18 eyeshadows. I don't think it is worth the $85 or the $35. I had very high expectations about this palette. You can also watch here my favorite Amazon products.